The first speaker is Abdoulatif Cisse. He's a PhD student in the Cooper Group at the University of Liverpool, working on improving optimization algorithms with human knowledge. So, Abdoulatif, the stage is yours.
Thank you, everyone, for attending. I'm really excited to present our work today on accelerating black box scientific experiments using expert hypotheses. So let's start with some background about what global optimization is. So global optimization focuses on finding the best possible solution to a problem across the broad and often complex landscape of possibilities. On the bottom here, we can see some examples of the landscapes of some mathematical functions. The landscapes here are represented in a heat map showing where the optimum are. The Rosenberg function on the far left is smooth and relatively simpler compared to the other functions, which present many local optimum. But unlike local optimization, which may stop at the nearest local optimum point, global optimization seeks the true optimum across the entire search space. So this is very crucial in many fields, including engineering, finance, and material science, where the cost of a suboptimal solution can be very high. So as we said, in many scientific domains, including material science, functions require evaluations as their landscapes are unknown and possibly multimodal, so presenting many solutions. But those evaluations can be subject to noisy experimental error due to some devices and can also be incredibly expensive to just simply evaluate. For instance, if we consider designing a new material for energy storage, each experiment might require hours of laboratory time, costly reagents, and sophisticated equipments. These high costs make it impractical to test all possible combinations exhaustively. So this challenge is not unique to material science. It appears in drug discovery, climate modeling, and even machine learning hyperparameter tuning. In all these cases, we need intelligent strategies to identify promising solutions without evaluating every possible solution. So Bayesian optimization is a powerful technique. It's a powerful tool for tackling problems where the objective function is expensive to evaluate and its mathematical form is unknown. So that's a scenario often referred to as black box optimization. At its core, Bayesian optimization builds a probabilistic surrogate model, typically a Gaussian process, to approximate the underlying function. This model predicts both the expected outcomes and the uncertainty of unexplored regions. Looking at the figure on the left here, we can see that by leveraging an acquisition function, which is in green at the bottom, Bayesian optimization selects the next point to evaluate in blue and append it to the data set once evaluated. So that's marked in red. So that balances the exploration of unknown areas with exploitation of promising ones. So this process iteratively guides us towards the global optimum, making it ideal for applications in scientific discovery like materials design. So BO can be made even more efficient by incorporating prior knowledge that comes from human experts, for example. But previous approaches have limitations, such as the difficulty to just translate such knowledge in a way that the machine learning model understands it. But mostly, these previous approaches could only integrate one item of knowledge throughout the entire optimization process. So they could not allow handling multiple items of knowledge simultaneously, which can, for example, come from a team of lab experts. Our goal with hypothesis Bayesian optimization, so HypBO in short, is to integrate expert knowledge as hypotheses. So that will help us to manage multiple and contradictory ones to enhance efficiency and accuracy. So the concept is pretty much a bi-level optimization where the upper level is a global search that uses the Bayesian optimization to find the global maximum. And the lower level looks at the different hypotheses given by different experts in order to find promising points that will help enhance the global search. So in scientific experiments, experts often think in terms of parameter ranges. So that's why we formulate hypotheses from experts as mathematical sub-constraints whose solution is a region of the search space. So in our method, a hypothesis is therefore ultimately an interval of confidence along the axis. So we can visualize that with the one-dimensional Ackley function here on the left. The last figure then shows 3 hypothesis subspaces with varying qualities as they're located in different areas of the search space. So this illustrates how hypotheses could guide the search strategy toward or away from promising regions. So we use local Gaussian process models and local acquisition functions to assess the quality of each of these hypotheses. So we will use these same 3 hypotheses in our experiments on synthetic functions that we will show shortly. So in our method, when given multiple different hypotheses, so HypBO's lower level uses local GPs and acquisition functions to identify the best initial samples for each hypothesis. And then we apply an implicit multi-arm bandit approach to select the top T most promising samples from these initial picks. These selected samples, once evaluated, are then added to the dataset used by the upper level, which then performs a global search in the entire search space. So throughout this process, both the local and global GPs are updated iteratively with new data, creating a bi-level optimization framework, as we just mentioned in the concept. But there could be instances where the hypotheses given by humans are not good, because it's not because you're an expert that necessarily the idea that you have could be considered as ground truth. So to mitigate weak and poor hypotheses from humans, the upper level continues optimizing from the given seeds until it stops improving after a certain number of consecutive iterations. And to maximize the information gained from the good hypothesis, the lower level keeps generating seed samples until it stops improving after Lmax consecutive iterations. So we set the Lmax much smaller than Umax for the upper level. So in order to focus on promising hypotheses while allowing the upper level enough time to explore the whole search space and steer away from the hypothesis regions if they are limiting. So we evaluated HypBO on a range of synthetic mathematical functions and compared it to other methods. You can get more details on all of the different tests in the paper by scanning this QR code on the bottom left here, but it will also be showed at the very end of this presentation. For the sake of this presentation, we can focus on the tests with 3 different hypotheses, binary combinations of varying qualities. So here, we are maximizing the 9-dimensional AIchemy function as illustration. So colored dots here indicate when HypBO tests a specific hypothesis, while gray dots show when HypBO advances the search based on cumulative learnings rather than just testing a new hypothesis. So in our synthetic test, HypBO demonstrated its ability to discard less promising hypotheses and focus on the promising ones, which allows to further enhance the optimization efficiency and robustness. We also applied HypBO to a real-world problem. So in this case, it's optimizing the hydrogen evolution rate in a photocatalysis process, which is a complex and costly task in material science. So we replicated the experiment from Berger and al. Paper, which we did in our lab a few years ago, which used a base vanilla discretized Bayesian optimization. So replicated that now to see if HypBO could improve the results by integrating expert hypotheses. So in a retrospective analysis, we added previously unavailable expert knowledge to that experiment, still detailed in the paper, into the optimization process, and tested HypBO separately with each piece of knowledge as hypothesis. So the DBO results in gray here represent the average outcome of the original study we are replicating. And with the what they knew hypothesis, which uses extra chemical knowledge available before the study, the Berger study, HypBO improves early performance and overall does better than DBO, showing the value of expert hypothesis. When we look at perfect hindsight, that hypothesis which restricts the search to the best areas based on the full outcomes of the original study, that leads to a much faster optimization. And when you look at the bizarre world hypothesis, so even that one, which focuses on the worst areas of the experimental space, HypBO reduces the negative effect by shifting its effort on the global search. Finally, we tested HypBO on the same experiment, but with a team of virtual chemists this time. And each chemist tries to improve the search by giving a specific hypothesis. So this allows us to simulate a real-world conditions where multiple experts share insights, but they could be different and contradictory. So the left figure here shows the virtual team that we designed to reflect diverse and sometimes contradictory views with an equal mix of good and bad hypotheses. The scatter plot illustrates our optimization efforts. So the orange dotted line here shows the performance of the original work without hypothesis. So initially, all hypotheses were selected, but as the optimization progressed, HypBO filtered out bad ones and prioritized the promising ones. So that improved the search compared to the original data set that we see here in orange. So even though unprofitable hypotheses were deselected early, HypBO reselected them when their utility was higher than the other available for evaluation. So that highlighted the importance of reevaluating hypotheses in the face of new data. So in conclusion here for this presentation, this method that we've developed so effectively integrates expert hypotheses into based Bayesian optimization. And its main advantage is the fact that it can sort through different a pool of different hypotheses coming from different people and takes the ones that are actually more promising in order to speed up the optimization and discard the ones that are actually hindering the actual optimization. So yeah, thank you very much for your attention.